All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Seattle Seahawks in tonight's video. I will never give up on this team. They just hired a couple of days ago offensive coordinator Clint Kubiak, 37 years old. He's coming to Seattle after two previous stints as an NFL play caller. He was the Minnesota Vikings OC in 2021, and he was the New Orleans Saints OC this past season. I think this is a phenomenal hire. I think this is exactly the type of dude who Mike Macdonald would want / wanted / has now. And it just here are two quick comments on the Seattle Seahawks. First off, they just went 10-7 on a down season, up and down season, not much stability. The Seattle Seahawks just went 10-7. Now, because of my Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings and Washington, it was an insane year. Probably I think it is the first year a 10-7 team did not make the playoffs since the wild card was added a team. But one thing came to mind. First off, I think on January 29th, I think 364 days ago, Mike Macdonald was hired as the head coach for Seattle. He was the 8th out of 9th coach hired in last year's cycle, and he went out there and he got Ryan Grubb as his OC. I don't think in any way, shape, or form Ryan Grubb was who Mike Macdonald wanted at OC, and that's why you see, I know Geno threw 15 interceptions. It was a rocky offensive season. Pretty much the reason to me was the offensive line. But I do think a guy like Clint Kubiak offers you a lot more upside and a higher floor than Ryan Grubb. And then my second comment was, if you're wondering why the Seattle Seahawks offense was chaotic, because Geno threw for over 4,300 yards, but he only had 21 touchdowns and he had 15 interceptions and a couple of fumbles. The offensive line. It's just the offensive line. That's it. And I'm sick of saying this every single year. But anyways, welcome back to the channel. Obviously, we're talking about the Seattle Seahawks in today's video. But before we do, hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. We're definitely posting at least one Seahawks video all the way. I don't know why we ever stopped, but plenty of Seahawks content on this channel this offseason is my point. So Kubiak was promoted to quarterback coach for the first time all the way back in 2019 with the Minnesota Vikings. He helped Kirk Cousins really ascend. In his first season working with Captain Kirk, the Michigan State standout threw 26 touchdowns and only 6 interceptions, and he finished in the top 10 in completion percent, top 10 in interception rate, top 10 in passer rating, top 10 in yards per attempt, and Minnesota ended up going to the divisional round of the playoffs. The next season, Kirk Cousins threw a career-high 35 touchdowns, and once again, top 10 in completion percent, passing yards, yards per attempt, pass rating, you get it. And then he was promoted to the OC in 2021, where once again, Kirk Cousins was top 10 in passing yards, touchdowns, interception rate, passing rate, and yards per attempt in that offense. Now, overall, the 2021 Minnesota Vikings offense ranked only 14th in scoring, and they were only 17th in rushing yards. But his stint in New Orleans was really interesting this past season. I don't know if you guys remember it. The New Orleans Saints started the year off 2-0. They scored a record-setting 91 points through its first 2 games. Now, it wasn't the best competition, but the Saints went 9-8 the year before. The reason the Saints sucked so much this past season is simply because of injuries. Every single player on this offense was injured. I mean, it just every single player. And so I saw this article from John Gilbert. I forget the website. I do apologize. I usually have that. And he went through some advanced statistics of what Clint Kubiak was able to do with what he was given. So you have to keep in mind, Spencer Rattler started half a dozen games for this New Orleans Saints last season. They finished last year as a cohesive collective offense at 1.84 points per drive, all right? Now, for comparison's sakes, the Seahawks under Ryan Grubb finished the season at 1.89 points per drive. So in a 17 game regular season, the Seahawks offense would be 9 points better if these offenses had 180 drives in a season, right? So obviously crazy statistic as far as just sample size goes. But here's where things get a little bit more interesting. The point is, that's not good. Derek Carr started from weeks 1 to 5 and 9 to 14. The New Orleans Saints averaged 2.39 points per drive, which would have been ninth in the National Football League. So if you exclude Sam Howell's drives for the Seahawks, Ryan Grubb's offense with Geno Smith averaged only 1.91 points per drive, which was 20th, tied for 20th in the NFL. So the point is here, Kubiak is more so what a guy like Mike McDonald is looking for. Ryan Grubb, like Geno Smith and these two running backs, you need to be running the football and you need to open up play action. And you just need to open up the game script. You want to open up the play sheet, open it all up, right? They didn't do that. And you have to keep in mind with all of this stuff, the Seahawks offensive line was truly that bad. I don't even need to tell you, like the new center retires halfway through the season, injuries, inexperience, you name it. Geno did throw 15 interceptions, and Ryan Grubb and their offense wasn't the most explosive, but Geno was running for his life way, way too often, all right? So when they run the ball better this upcoming season, and I really hope John Schneider decides to spend some freaking money in free agency on proven offensive linemen, please write these guys checks. And I get it. The Seahawks, technically, I believe it's the third worst cap space for this upcoming season. They're going to make a ton of moves to free up a bunch of cap space. There are a lot of guys who they could cut, release, trade, or what have you, and save a bunch of money. So as far as cap space goes, I'm not too worried. And just in the overall sense of the roster, I'm not worried about the Seattle Seahawks. I don't think it's a talent issue. I think the last two seasons, injuries and coaching just have not been complementary for the pieces that they have. So Kubiak's going to put Geno Smith, or technically, because he's a free agent, whoever the quarterback is, under center way more often. The Saints ranked 5th in under center snaps last year, while the Seahawks ranked 26th. They ran shotgun offense all the time. And guys like DK Metcalf and JSN are going to benefit as well. And I know DK, contract extension, Geno contract extension. In Minnesota, Justin Jefferson had more than 1,600 yards in Kubiak's offense in 2021. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed were both on pace for 1,000-yard seasons before they both suffered season-ending injuries this past season. And Spencer Rattler started 6 games for him. It was just really that bad of an injured season. Derek Carr did a really good job, 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. So I think the Kubiak hiring is perfect. I think it is absolutely money. This is a young dude, only 37 years old. And because of this hire and his expertise, I do think that they're going to move forward one last season at least with Geno Smith, who, yes, is 34 years old. And it's not the most exciting thing, but this is a 10-7 team. They've had 3 straight years where they've been above 500 and just no success after that. Things need to change, but really not that much needs to change. So I'm curious more so, first off, what do you think of Kubiak? Give me a grade higher rating. And then number 2, who do you want to be the starting quarterback for Seattle this upcoming season? Thank you guys for watching. Hit the like button, hit that sub button. We'll see you soon.